Good morning. Today's starting place is in Proverbs, Proverbs chapter 12, verse 25. Actually, thinking about Proverbs is a great book to read periodically or regularly, same as Psalms and the Gospels, of course. I know some of us, we read through the Bible in a year and perhaps only spend 2 or 3 weeks reading Proverbs, but Proverbs is full of lovely little just verses that jump out at you with beautiful advice, wisdom in Proverbs. I'm sorry, I'm diverting. Let's go to Proverbs 12:25, which says, "Anxiety in a man's heart weighs him down, but a good word makes him glad." Anxiety in the heart of a person weighs them down, but a good word makes them glad. And that's one of the things that we can do for other people whenever we see them, to give a cheery word, to give them encouragement. Anxiety weighs the heart down. And, we have a propensity to, we human beings, we like to tell stories about dramatic things that have happened to us. I'll use a very, very womanly kind of illustration, and I hope you bear with me, guys. But when you're pregnant, this is a long time ago, as you'll understand, when you're carrying a child and you're thinking about the birth, and it's the first child and you've never been through it before and you're anxious about it. If you talk about it to people who've had children before, they'll come out with all sorts of gory stories about terrible things that happened to them or to someone that they knew. And the worst case scenario is often portrayed. Well, that will just put anxiety into the heart of the new mum to be. We need to watch our words and not compete with other people to have the worst case scenario and draw attention to ourselves. We need to lift. We need to give a good word. A good word makes them glad. The power that's in our tongues. We can make someone's day, or we can absolutely destroy them. There's a very old musical song, and I probably won't do it justice, can't remember it really, but it's all about someone who's walking down the street and people say to him how ill he looks. It's in the song, "Oh, my word, you do look ill, or you do look bad," and through the song you can feel him bowing. He thinks he's at death's door, because of what's being said to him. And then right at the end, someone goes up to him and says, "My word, you do look well." And immediately his demeanor changes completely. It's an old musical song. I wasn't there in the musical. You might think I was, but I wasn't quite. Anyway, very fun. It's a good word. We need a good word. We can change somebody's day by how we treat them. We can spread just a little happiness with the words we say and the smile that we give, whatever's going on in your life and your heart. Don't let anxiety rule your heart. Anxiety weighs you down. And the counter to it is given so frequently in the scriptures, but the verse that springs to mind for me is in Ephesians 4, where Paul says, "Have no anxiety about anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God." That's the answer to anxiety. Don't bottle it up. Don't bottle it up. You don't have to share it with everybody either. If you share your anxieties with everybody, you just spread the anxiety around. But if you give the anxiety to God, have no anxiety. If you are anxious about anything, if you're worried, if things are going round your head all night long, don't tolerate that. Deal with it. Learn to take control of your thoughts, because it's your thought life that is the key to how you live your speaking life, It's what goes round your head is what will come out of your mouth. Go to God with it. Whatever you're anxious about, God knows. And he's on your side. We were saying that yesterday. He's on your side. He's working for your good. He's leading you to the solution. You can trust him. He's got your best interests at heart. And he didn't, in his making of you, he did not design you to carry worry and anxiety. He did not design it for you. Worry and anxiety leads to all sorts of mental illness and physical illness. I actually looked it up just before. I looked it up and said, I just put it in my search engine. I know what these things are, you know. I put it into my search engine and I put in what illnesses are related to anxiety. And the list is frightening. Anxiety increases the risk of heart disease, stroke, cardiac arrest, tachycardia, increased blood pressure, ulcers, irritable bowel disease, migraines, back and neck problems, headaches, thyroid problems. The list is almost endless. When we're anxious, we are diseased. We are not at ease. And it affects our whole body because God didn't design us to carry anxiety. When he made Adam and Eve, he provided for them everything they needed. Everything they needed. When he created Adam, he created him and he gave him the garden, he gave him food, he gave him the animals, he gave him a beautiful environment, he gave him enough air to breathe, enough water to drink, enough food to eat. And then he found that Adam didn't have a companion suitable for him. So he made him a companion suitable for him, and he made woman. And whether you like it or not, men and women make good companions. They're very different. They rub the rough edges off each other. But this is the way God made it, for a man and a woman to be together, to be companions, helpmeets, to be the one that supports the other. But we were not made to carry anxiety. Anxiety is an evil thing. It's a very destructive thing. Anxiety. So the answer to anxiety is not to allow yourself to fret and worry and be anxious about anything. If you are anxious about anything, bring it to the Lord. Because he is Father. He is your Father. He's the one who made you. He knows how you tick. He knows the things that make you anxious. Mind you, it's true that the enemy knows what makes you anxious. So what does he do? He presses all your buttons. And he brings to your notice things he knows will make you anxious because he knows what your weak places are. So, don't let them fester. Don't let these things take place in your mind and go round and round your head. If it wakes you up at night, pray, worship, sing, read the scriptures, but don't lie there worrying, letting it go round and round your head. So in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving. Why thanksgiving? Because you can be thankful to God that he has everything under his control. And that he doesn't intend you to worry about it. He intends you to trust. And when you trust God and you hand over to him the problems and anxieties that you have, what do you get as a result? The next verse tells us in verse 7, and the peace of God, which passes all understanding, will keep your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. Your heart and your mind. It's in your mind that you worry. And in your heart, how many of those illnesses are heart-related? Heart-related. Heart disease, stroke, cardiac arrest, tachycardia, increased blood pressure. Your heart is affected by your anxiety. And what you get when you give it to God and you trust instead of fearing, you get the peace of God. which doesn't make sense. But it comes because you trust God, not fear the thing you're anxious about. You trust God, and that peace will keep your heart and your mind in Christ Jesus. Do not be anxious about anything. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.